Groovy.
This is Dan from Action Figure Magic, and we have Super 7 Ultimates G.I. Joe. This is the Cobra Bat, the Battle Android Trooper in all his glory. He's got the black, he's got the yellow. This is such a distinct design. We've got all his circuitry underneath. This is just such a cool figure. I have had some quality issues with some of my past G.I. Joe Super 7 figures. I still love Super 7 Ultimates, Thundercats, amazing line, and the Ninja Turtles you really can't go wrong with. Just the last two G.I. Joe figures, I've got Duke and I've got Snake Eyes, and each one of them had some minor issues, but let's hope this all turns around with our Bat figure. Their packaging is absolutely amazing. They come inside a giant cardboard case, then they've got a sleeve on top. Our Bat figure just absolutely destroyed that. But let's see what else we have and what's left of the rubble of the packaging. So on the back, we've got a nice little cartoon view of our figure, as well as a little file card blurb. And then this guy is loaded with accessories. It's the Bat figure, so you would expect a bunch of swappable hands. He's got some just various mix of weapons in there, and it looks like a swappable head with some battle damage. And it wouldn't be Bat without his backpack to put his extra hands in. So it's unlike G.I. Joe figures, where it has the peg in the back. It looks like it clips on his shoulders. It looks like there's pegs around. Actually, I'm. It's not going in as easy. Maybe if I pull his head off. When I had my Duke figure, once I popped the head off, it did not go back on. So I'm not gonna try too much with swapping the heads right now. That I'm gonna have to take a little bit more care with. It looks like the backpack is a little bit awkward to get on because it's a harder plastic. So you can't really push them to the side to get them where they need to go without fear that it'll snap. So again, I've had some quality issues, so I'm going to be very careful with this figure because I want him for display purposes and perhaps some stop motions, but I'm not going to probably try too hard with this one just because it is a harder plastic. It's going to easily snap. It's not like the figure itself that has a little bit of a softer plastic with some give to it. So in the backpack, it should be used to store his bonus hands. It's got the peg on it, like on his wrist. However, since it's the hard plastic, it's not going in very easily. So I might have to warm that up a little bit if I want to get him to wear it. But if it's not going on his shoulders, I'm probably going to kind of avoid the backpack for now. And let's start swapping out those hands. So they do not swap out on the normal spot on the wrist. It looks like the forearm, which makes sense because that's where he changes arms. And the first one we are going to put on, it looks like an egg beater. So it's kind of, it spins around. It's kind of like a drill, but it doesn't have a point on it. So I think it is used for egg beater purposes. And there's his hand. We'll just take a look at that. So he does a lot of baking. He's a baking android trooper. So this is just perfect. You get a nice dough ready and then pop it into the oven or use your flamethrower hand. And that is a pretty nice looking swappable hand. And here's his other swappable hand. This looks like the icer. So when he makes some cookies or a cake, he just puts whatever color, flavor, frosting in there, and he just globs it on the top. It's going to look delicious. Cobra Commander's birthday is coming up, so he is ready for that. Next up, we have my favorite of these swappable hands. It is not articulated. I say that as a slight missed opportunity. They should have had it open and closed so you can do your Pac-Man imitation. But it's going to look perfect. So let's plop off the egg beater and put right on the pincher. And this is the one that he's going to be displayed with. This is just such a great look for our Bat figure. So there we go. He could do your pinching. If you're around him on St. Patrick's Day, you better be wearing green. And let's take a look at his other hand. So this, we have the trigger hand, and then we have the punching hand. We're going to hold on to the trigger hand because he comes with guns, so we're going to put those on. And they have a cut-off hand. So when he reaches for the cookies that are not finished cooling, the other Bat's going to slice off his hand because you got to be perfect. And it looks like he also comes with a piece of his upper arm that is cut off, and it looks like that looks like it connects at the bicep. You see the ball joint there. My warning is the same as the head swap. I've had some issues pulling these things on and off, so I think I will heat them up, warm them up before I try to pull anything off that isn't like the forearm that you just know it's a peg. So I'm not going to play with that right now. That's going to be for the future case. I would love to do a stop motion where he gets his arm cut off. So I'm definitely going to see if I can work that somehow. And for now, let's just pop off his regular hand and put on the trigger hand because we got some guns for this guy that he's got to hold on to. So he's got two guns. He's got the small pistol, and then he's got the gigantic automated, looks like a rifle machine gun thing. I don't know guns too well other than what comes with my GI Joes, so it's pretty cool. So now we've got our pistol. We're gonna put that in his side holster because there's a spot for it, and then he could hold on to the bigger gun and he could just fire it into the air, just as he celebrates the Cobra Commander's birthday. And luckily, since we have the trigger finger on there, it just goes right in. And this is a well-armed bat, and he is ready to do some damage. And speaking of damage, the bonus head that he comes with looks like he got shot in the face, and there's just electrical blurbs going everywhere. He's not doing too well. Then he comes with this bonus battle damage electricity splurting thing, but I don't know where it goes. Perhaps on the arm that gets cut off, perhaps. I'm not quite sure. It's got a peg in the back, so it looks like it does go somewhere. So there's probably a little hole that you could slide it into. If anyone knows, I'm not sure where it goes. I tried to look up pictures and I was not too successful. But what I'm going to do is after this review, I'm going to look up some more pictures, see if I can find it. And if I can, I'm going to put a picture of it here of how it is applied. So I was able to find a picture of it where it goes. So there's a plastic chest plate over the circuitry, and you plop that off by pulling on a tab that's underneath the strap on his belt, and then there's a little hole in the middle of his chest. All right, so we are going to put this blast effect down for now, or the spark effect, and we'll figure that out, hopefully in the future. All right, this is, I don't know. As far as the G.I. Joe Super 7 figures, I think this guy might have turned it around for me. Some slight issues with his backpack, but otherwise, this is a quality figure. The design is perfect. He's cartoonish. He looks like an action figure. His articulation is pretty solid. So the articulation you would expect on the Super 7 figures. So it's not as movable as the like G.I. Joe classified figures, where they don't have double points of articulation on the elbows and the knees, so they get about 90-degree angles on them. His neck is a little bit loose. That's fine. No issues or concern there. You can fix that. The ab crunch is a little bit limited, but he can do the twist. And then his hips, this one is a little bit awkward with the holster right there, but this other one goes good. So he can do a one roundhouse kick, and like I mentioned before, his knees are a little bit limited. They're not double jointed, so they can go about halfway back. You can still get some pretty amazing poses, but more of crouches versus like really ducking down or jumping through the air. But he's an android, so you don't really expect him to do too much stretching. He's not going to run a yoga class. That would just be ridiculous. However, I would sign up for that. So there we have it. A pretty amazing Cobra Bat figure. I like him. Thanks for watching. Enjoy.